This may not be traditionally be thought of as part of time management, but by staying organised in terms of our physical space, but also the files that we create, can ultimately save us lots of time. So your physical space is a space where you can easily envisage wasting time, particularly if it's a messy space. It's going to take you a long time to find what it is that you're actually working on. So get some folders or some boxes to delineate your work, particularly if you also are part of a club or society. You might have other papers that aren't related to your academic work. Make sure that they're separated out. Make sure that you're really comfortable in that space. So having a natural light source is important, or if you're using electric light, make sure it's the shoulder opposite to your writing hand so that you're not casting a shadow on your work. Make sure the desk and chair are relative to one another at a really comfortable height for you, or get a cushion and some lumbar support if you need to, if you find it difficult sitting for long periods, or maybe a standing desk, or there are lots of sort of additions that you can get to desks to help you. Make sure that environment is distraction free, so perhaps consider putting your phone in a drawer for an hour at a time so that you can focus, or going to work in a space such as a library where you know that you won't be bothered. Where possible, try not to blur the boundaries between work and rest if you can. I think that's really important to try and have a space, that's on your bed and that's for relaxation, and then try and always work at your desk. Or again, consider leaving your room when you want to do work, whether it's going to the club room, a cafe, or a library space. And then you need to think about how you organise your work. If you work in a physical form, if you like to take handwritten notes, and this can be anything, this could be notebooks, post-its, it could be diaries, you might work in a bullet journal, which is a bit of a combination of everything. It's got kind of calendars and planners and your notes in there as well. Make sure that you've got them organised in a systematic way. The most important thing though, if you are going to use physical notes, is to back them up. Every single year we get people in the library coming in saying, have you seen my black notebook? It's got absolutely everything in it, and we haven't. And then everything is lost. So either take photographs of pages at the end of the day, do a little bit of housekeeping, or you could use the scanners in the library, which will scan directly to your @cam email address, and then you can just file them away. You don't need to look at them, but if you do lose your notes, then you know that you're safe. It's also worth thinking about how you're going to organise each individual notebook as well. So you might want to have different notebook for every paper that you're taking, or every part of your research project. You might want to have one for when you're meeting with your supervisor. You might, so that every time you meet with them, you just know you've got it in the same notebook. Or you might want to have a separate one for notes for your literature searching. Or you can get those notebooks with built-in dividers, which are really useful as well. Something that lots of us don't do is to number our pages. So go through a notebook when it's blank and number every single page. And then for the first few pages, create a contents page. And then as you complete pages in your notebook, write in the title and the date of what's in there. It'll just help you find things more quickly rather than constantly flicking through trying to find something. If you use loose leaf paper, then obviously use a similar system for that. If you don't work in an analog way, if you keep digital files, so all of us will keep probably digital files in terms of our written work, but if you keep your notes in this way as well, then think about the system that you're going to use. Definitely don't use your desktop in case your laptop suddenly crashes and you can't get information back. So make sure everything's backed up on the cloud. Anticipate the sorts of things you're going to create. So like with most time management things, it involves taking a bit of time at the start, doing a little bit of planning, create a folder structure, nest that, lots of folders under that, so you've got a really nice clear structure. Things might move around, of course, that's inevitable, but it just means there's a home for everything when you create it. When you download files, particularly PDFs, which can have just a combination of letters and numbers, rename them so that they're meaningful to you. Probably put a date on it as well, because obviously when you go back into something, if you resave it, it's going to have a different date to the one in your head when you think, oh, actually I accessed that last January, first of all. You may not be able to find it again by ordering something by date. And this is a really good example as well for the kind of chaos that can happen with digital files, is where you just give things meaningless names. So you can see here, presentation 1, or essay plan, essay with my name on it. Some have just got letters and numbers, essay for Monday. There's a few folders in there, readings, reading 2. These don't mean anything. So come up with a meaningful naming system. Again, spend a bit of time, plan it in advance so you're not having to do it on the hoof. So think of a prefix for your document. This might be rep for report, S for essay, something along those lines, so you know what sort of document it is you're looking at, because you might have several things with similar titles. Then give it a meaningful title. Version control is really important. Which version you work on? Then this is particularly now, lots of us are working on office.com, things are saving automatically, and you just lose your work. And yes, you can retrieve it, you can go back through, but you don't always want to work all your way back through. There might be some things you want to keep and some things you want to change. So if you're going to undertake major revisions on a document, save a new copy all the time, keep that original, and you're going to need multiple versions. So again, that's going to inform the sorts of folder structure that you develop. And there are loads of tools to help us with all these organizational elements. Like we said, keeping documents in the cloud, so everyone has access to Microsoft Office. Do make use of all the features on there. Google Docs as well, really useful for accessing on multiple devices by multiple people. Both of them, you can share them with people as well, which is good. Think about getting an online calendar. If you use a paper diary, what happens if you lose that? All your appointments have gone. Outlook, Google, iCalendar, lots of ways again of blocking out time in your day. You can move things between days. So if you don't complete a task, it's really flexible in a way that an analog paper diary isn't. Note taking, I do all my note taking online. I use OneNote, and I have subdividers for everything, for all the different types of meetings that I go to, all the different people that I meet on a regular basis. I really like that because I can then type things in advance of the meeting happening, and then when I go to the meeting, I've got all my notes in there, and then I can update them during the meeting as well. And I use that, and they're all fully searchable, so I find that really useful. Lots of tools for kind of quick reminders, like sort of post-it notes, but online. So Google Keep is a great one, and I use that all the time on my desktop. And then project management. If you're working on a bigger project, think about using something like Trello or Miro for mapping the tasks, for moving them around, for allocating them times, deadlines, those sorts of things. So hopefully that's been a useful introduction to staying organised. Lots more information on our LibGuide, or come and see us one-to-one, and our email addresses are there if you'd like to get in touch.